Hi, welcome to the Asurface Show, where we share useful information for architects and designers, builders, developers, and construction industry-related professionals. I'm here today with Kristen Nande. Hi.
Hi.
Today we're here to talk about the SLBSA. That's the Small Local Business Suppliers Association. Tell us a little bit about it, Kristen.
Well, the SLBSA was basically born from a need of having representation on large governmental construction projects for small local businesses that weren't perhaps getting the same opportunities as some of the larger manufacturers or distributors.
So tell me, the Small Local Business Association, Suppliers Association, supports small businesses. How does it do that?
Yeah, we are a network of small local businesses, most of us CBE companies that support the interests of and lobby on behalf of our small local businesses in large construction projects.
Got it. Are there challenges for small businesses doing business in Washington, D.C.?
Absolutely. As you know, most manufacturing is not done here in DC. And so you're already at a slight disadvantage when you have larger manufacturers that come in and larger distributors that come in. They have the money, they have the resources, they have the reps that can go in and make big, impactful presentations to the architect and design community, to project managers, to general contractors. And typically, a small local business does not have those same types of resources and relationships. So what we aim to do is to kind of level that playing field to give smaller businesses and smaller suppliers the same access to projects as large manufacturing conglomerates.
Interesting. So for these construction projects, I'm assuming suppliers, they're typically material suppliers or, yeah?
They're all material suppliers, but they range from different product categories, from windows to floors, doors, lights, floor to ceiling. We've got products that are suitable for commercial construction.
So, okay, basically any materials that go into a
Yes.
construction project.
Yes, and it's ever expanding. We're not married to a certain list of finishes. We're always looking to include different product categories, different business types. This is the majority of the companies in the association are material suppliers, but with the network of people included in here, it also helps with people who deal with bonds, insurance. It's a tight group of people, and even if you're not supplying material, you're probably still supplying a service on that project.
Right, gotcha. So if a business chooses to join your association, what types of services or engagement could they expect with the association or from the association?
Well, the association itself lobbies construction companies and agencies like DGS to include small local businesses in their construction process. But in addition, there's networking events. We have contractors that come in, so it allows them to interact and form relationships with contractors and with architects and designers that typically they may or may not have access to. And so it brings a personal engagement down to the small local businesses that.
Right. It's very interesting. I know Washington, D.C. has the CBE program, the Certified Business and Enterprise program, and I'm well aware that that really benefits contractors. Subcontractors especially have benefited from the CBE program. How is this different from the CBE program?
The CBE program does benefit contractors, and it has been, I'm sure, a great asset and tool for CBE contractors and subcontractors. Unfortunately, that does not extend to suppliers. And so while from an altruistic standpoint, it would be great to use locally supplied materials, there's no mandate that suggests, and there's no mandate or reward for using locally supplied materials.
Right. It's my understanding, I think, if a CBE contractor is awarded the contract, there's no additional points for using a CBE supplier or small business supplier. They get the same amount of points in the contract. So this is great. So I'm just sitting here thinking about how this association could benefit the small local supplier. But let's talk about, on the other side of things, the manufacturing engagement. Do you engage with large manufacturers?
We do. Like I said before, manufacturing is very limited here in the district. And so what we've done with some of our manufacturing partners would be to extend some of the same pricing levels to local suppliers that they would possibly extend to their larger contractors that either may or may not be local or may not be a small business, which evens the playing field when it comes to bidding. As long as they're able and capable of doing the work, then they should have the opportunity to bid the job.
Right. So your team, your lobbyists, you would engage with the general contractor or the developer early in the development stages of the project to encourage utilization of your members' products in the project, right?
Correct. And then even manufacturers outside of our members, we also engage with those companies to help them or to encourage them to extend the same type of pricing to our members so that our members can bid on jobs, whether they supply the product or not.
That's great. So that's building capacity for small local businesses, increasing jobs and scale for small local business, and
that's the goal.
Providing pathways to the middle class. This is great. So these companies do a lot of their own networking, marketing, and promotion and budget. Why should these companies join this association?
I think networking is a really important piece of generating business and getting personal relationships with companies. And there are certainly networking opportunities within the association. I think what distinguishes us from other associations and other groups would be we really try to do a lot of the networking and marketing on behalf of our members. While you're certainly in a room with contractors and end users and you can do some of that networking on your own, we're actually lobbying at a very high level for inclusion of our members. And everyone doesn't have the opportunity or the resources to get out there and network with some of these companies. And so we're doing that on your behalf so that they know that there's, a window company out there that can service them that, isn't Graham or isn't some large, huge manufacturing company with huge manufacturing marketing budgets. We hope to do that for the members.
Got it. So through engagement, now will you identify a project at a specific stage and hold meetings or roundtable discussions, or what does engagement look like?
Engagement has a few different phases. One is on the specification level. A lot of times smaller businesses come in when it's time to maybe present an alternate product or to be considered not as the basis of design, where we'd like to have our members who do manufacture and distribute material be considered as the actual specification. And that becomes difficult to do, penetrating architect and design companies and penetrating some of these end users. And so we hope to introduce on the front end in the specification side. And then on the purchasing and procurement side, we also want to allow smaller businesses and our local businesses to be able to bid jobs that otherwise would have been out of their reach, whether they would have been priced out of competition or they just simply didn't know about the project.
Right. That's interesting. Okay, so the objective of this association is to promote the interest, the economic interest of its members, right? And competition is fierce out there. There's a lot of competition. How does the association further the interest of its members?
Well, it does that in a couple of ways. In one case, let's say there's 20 flooring installers that are all members of the association, and theoretically you are all competing with one another for some of the same jobs. The way that things stand right now, you're competing for, let's say, 100 jobs, all 20 of you. Adding access to these additional projects and opportunities, instead of competing for those 100 jobs, you're now competing for 1,000 jobs. And so the pie has just gotten exponentially larger and presents more opportunity for everyone. The other part would be, because of some of the agreements and partnerships that we have with manufacturers and distributors, a lot of the small local businesses that typically can't or try to bid on some of these jobs, they're priced out of it. Let's say the small local business gets $10 for his price, but his competition, that's a larger company that may have a better relationship, they get $8. Now that the playing field is equal, they'll all be getting the same $8 price.
Sure, got it. So by virtue of engagement in projects, suppliers representing manufacturers will be able to get a more favorable price just by virtue of being engaged in more projects, correct?
Right.
Okay. Got it.
And we also have an understanding with our manufacturing partners when we go in and we speak to these general contractors, and we go in and we speak to agencies and owners, that the goal is to help the small local supplier. If a manufacturer's product is still being purchased, why should that supplier pay a higher price for it?
Right.
And so we have agreements and an understanding with the manufacturers that, you know, this is to benefit the supplier, but you're not losing anything by doing it either.
Sure, it makes sense. And I think also, as I'm thinking this through, by virtue of engagement in the very early stages of a project, a supplier can in turn go back to its manufacturing partner and discuss pricing, where pricing needs to be. They can have information about where their pricing needs to be in order to win an opportunity to be included in a large construction project. And I think that that's an important part of this is knowing about a project very early on, so that you can engage. And like anything else, the more opportunities one has to be in front of a potential customer, the more chances they get of eventually winning a sale, right?
Exactly.
So will you create events? Will there be events about specific projects where people will have the opportunity to meet the players, meet the design team, the architect team, the general contractors? How will that work?
Absolutely. This is a two-pronged approach. So while we are out lobbying and networking on behalf of our members, we also want to give our members the opportunity to put them in the same room as the people who are specifying, purchasing these materials, and allow them to foster and harbor their own relationships with these companies.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got it. Kristen, thanks for joining us today. What should one do if they want to learn more?
Well, if you want to learn more, we'd be happy to send you an information packet that'll outline in detail a lot of the things that we've discussed here and some of the benefits to membership. Just click the link below and we'll get one out for you.
Thanks for joining us.